The first trip I did to Senegal alone was in 2014. So actually when I was 16 years old. I went there alone because I wanted to discover my origin and also to like separate myself from the two families, because in that time I so confused and stressed out, if I can say that, to have so many like arguments between my families. So I decided to live for a few, and so I went there for a month and a half, and my life changed completely because I understood my origins, what African means, and I changed my mind of the country.
Hi, can you tell me your name, what you do creatively, and how you describe your nationality or your cultural heritage?
Hi, I'm Ndeye, but everybody calls me Andy because it's easier. I'm 22, I'm studying investigation and security, and I am Afro-Italian because I come from Senegal, but actually I was born and raised up in Italy.
Nice. So, how did your family end up in Italy? What's the story?
So my story definitely begin with my parents because they were born in Senegal and raised up there and get married in Senegal. After they decide to come in Italy, find a better place and a better life. And then I was born like 2 years ago. Then my mom's arrived. So I raised up there.
Sorry, and why did your parents decide to go to Italy?
Basically because they come from a little small village when there was nothing, like no future for them. So this was the only solution, even because they already knew, my dad especially, he already knew some Senegal guys that were in Italy and they were working actually, so they could help him.
I want to ask you about the early years because after your parents moved from Senegal to Italy, 2 years later you're born. So, do you remember your first impressions about being Senegalese and also being Italian as a young child? Anything that comes to mind?
So when I was born, my mom already knew an Italian family, and so I grew up with them, with two family actually, but more with the Italian one. So my first impression was that actually my parents had a different color skin from me, but nothing compared with the society because I lived in a house that was like no difference between our colors. So even if my family was white, I didn't know that I was different. Like I could see it, but I didn't know why because they raised me up like there was no difference.
Right, right. And so when was there a time when you started to realize, oh, I'm being seen differently in this society, or maybe people see me in a way that I didn't expect?
Yeah, when I started the high school, definitely, because living in a small village and growing up with my grandparents, they used to speak an old Italian, like a dialect that we speak here in Vicenza, and actually the people that I met in the high school, they didn't speak this language. They speak just Italian. So for them, it was strange that a black person, speak their language because actually it's an old language from us in our region. So it was strange for them. And so I asked them. They were asking me why you are speaking in this language, and I asked them why you don't speak it. This is the question actually because we are from here, so you should speak like me.
So, you said how old were you at that time?
I was 14, yeah, when I
Wow,
started the high school.
teenage.
Yeah.
So, as a teenager, you're in high school. I want to ask you, what kind of music were you listening to? I mean, what kind of reflections of blackness did you see around you in music or in film? Yeah.
It was definitely Michael Jackson. Like it still is, so it was Michael Jackson. From 2009, it was always Michael Jackson. My
Do,
favorite
do,
time, my favorite artist, and my favorite music.
And do you know why it was not somebody Italian?
Um, because but even from here, even people from here, like usually teenagers used to listen to other music, like the American music or the English music. Like, it's not that common. Maybe the Italian trap that I like to listen to, but the other Italian genres we don't usually to listen.
And at that time, as a teenager, who else were you listening to in terms of music?
Yeah, that time actually was the Italian trap. Like my friends and people that I used to know, they were more for the Italian trap or the American music, American hip hop, or also techno. Techno was very into the young people.
And did you have any feelings around Senegalese music at that time?
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. I had like the Senegalese music in my head for 22 years. I know, like living in African house, they're not very open in the Italian music. So I listen to Yusundur like for 22 years.
Oh, wow. So tell me about the journey to Senegal and your writing career. How did that kick off?
Okay, so the first trip I did to Senegal alone was in 2014. So actually, when I was 16 years old, I went there alone because I wanted to discover my origin and also to like separate myself from the two families, because in that time I so confused and stressed out, if I can say that, to have so many like argument between my families. So I decided to leave for a few, and so I went there for a month and a half, and my life changed completely because I understood my origins, what African means, and I changed my mind of the country.
Please like and subscribe. Shadow Choose Films.